Welcome to Whiskey and Wonder.
All right. I completely forgot to take the start screen off again on the camera.
Hey, guys.
Yep. Welcome to Whiskey and Wonder, episode 45.
Wow,
45.
already.
And if you're on YouTube, you can see that we have a guest with us today. This is
Tony Burgio. He is a cybersecurity expert. We'll get a little bit more into who he is and what he does and the title he has in a little bit. But he is going to teach us a lot about being safe online and with technology. So
absolutely. So we're really excited. Have a round of applause. We're excited to have Tony in today.
How's it going?
Doing fine. So before we jump too far into that, we're gonna, as always, do social media and talk about our announcements. Find us at whiskeyandwonder.com, Instagram at Whiskey Podcast, YouTube, Whiskey and Wonders, our channel. I would highly recommend everybody go check this video out, as I still have the mustache. But my beard is growing back soon. So it's growing back quick. I'm hoping by the time I'm back from vacation, it'll be 100%.
grown back in?
Not grown back in, but like it'll cover my face. Check us out. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/whiskey and wonder, and email us at contact@whiskeyandwonder.com. So, and if you're on YouTube, you can see all that stuff right there on the screen. We've made it super easy. If you're not on YouTube, it is in the show notes down below.
Yes.
As far as announcements go, it's quick. The first one is just that we're always still looking for guests and guest drinkers. We're happy to have Tony here as our first guest that's not mine or Megan's, as Megan likes to call them, life partner. So, yes, if you would love to be a guest, please shoot us an email. Let us know.
Yes.
Megan?
So I have the other half of the announcement today, and it is a bad announcement, and I'm very sorry. Last week, I promised you guys that we would not miss an episode when Tyler goes on vacation, that I would go ahead and do research and we would double up and record before he leaves. That is not going to happen. I ended up overextending myself, I guess, because this week we are also in the process of moving and packing and doing all the fun stuff that comes with that. And I just couldn't find time to research and do the packing and other stuff I had to do.
Life finds a way to get in the way.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to modify that Jeff Goldblum quote there for
Yes.
a little bit. So yeah, we are going to end up missing an episode next week. I'm sorry about that, guys, but we will be back the weekend after that.
Yes.
So
I'm sorry. That's my bad, my fault. I thought I could do more than I could.
It's all right. Life happens. As for anything else, just want to say thank you to everybody that listens, that supports us, that donates, that subscribes and likes us. It makes everything possible. So
Definitely. It helps out a lot.
I guess on that note, we're going to go ahead and transition to
the open segment.
I am so used to hitting the damn opening the bottle one. I always go right there to it. And then I'm like, that says open. Nope, wrong open. So this is Tony. This is our open segment. I know you listen to the show, so you know what it's about. So I mentioned just briefly right earlier, if you're on YouTube, you see we've got Tony and Megan squeezed into one camera. I have fought and tried and struggled since about 3:30 today, trying to get a GoPro I have set up as a camera.
It's a long time, man.
Yeah, well, it involved a trip to Best Buy, so it wasn't just me struggling here necessarily, but suffice to say, I thought I could rig something together with some stuff I bought at Best Buy and was unable to. Apparently, I there's a difference between a capture card and a HDMI to USB adapter. One sends video, one doesn't. So
Jesus. Yeah, that sucks, man.
yeah, so I've spent, like I said, most of the afternoon trying to figure that out. And so unfortunately we are squeezing them into one camera frame, but I know what I need to do. And so we'll have that piece. I'm actually going to return what I bought and buy that piece tomorrow because they come out to about the same price. So we'll have it for the future.
Indeed. Well, you guys have kind of heard how my week has been going, just stressed out and collecting boxes and storage stuff and, getting everything together. That's kind of been my life.
Just stress.
All the stress.
I hate moving.
Yeah, it's the worst. It is so bad.
It's awful.
Complete. I paid people to move last time, and
yeah,
then
so did we.
I was so cheap about it too, and they were. I literally told them I had things boxed up, but I was like, I don't want you guys to move the boxes. I can move the boxes. I want you to move the heavy stuff like the furniture.
Yeah.
And they took 2 hours because their policy is to like wrap up the beds and whatnot. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, just move the damn bed. Like, I don't care if you wrap up my mattress. Just move it. I can clean the dirt off of it. But so, what's up with you? How's your week been, Tony?
It's been pretty good. Just work stuff and I got a few personal projects that I like to mess around with. I have a sort of a cybersecurity lab machine at home that I mess around with, and just playing video games with my wife and playing with our dogs. That's about it.
That sounds like a good week.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I like that.
What kind of dogs do you have?
They're both lab mixes.
I bet they're loving and affectionate as hell.
To us,
well, yeah, that's a valid point.
One of them thinks that literally everything is for her, and so the other one has kind of gone into a resource guarding mode a little bit, and sometimes they get into it. So we're, with the help of Megan, who is a freaking genius,
Thank you.
has recommended a couple of very good books to Corey and I. We're working through it, but it's been interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Megan helped me with Bo a ton too, and I'm looking to add another soon. So, and I just know that they had a litter on the way.
Yeah, I saw the Aussies post that they had pups. I was like, well,
they had them.
They said they're on the way.
Oh, they're on the way. Okay,
Yeah.
I've been monitoring, trying to see if they actually have them. So I'm excited about that. I'm nervous. I'm not sure if it's the right time or if I should do it or if I should hold off. So I got to do some thinking. But you said you've been playing some video games. What video games you been playing? I've been out of it for a while. So
we play a lot of Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
And also Corey has really gotten into Minecraft. So I finally picked that up, and we started a server on Minecraft Realms. And I also have a Nintendo Switch that I play a ton of.
Okay.
So yeah,
I've been out of the video game world for way too long.
Long time.
Yeah, I haven't played. I basically stopped playing in college or shortly after college. Every once in a while, I'll get on Call of Duty just because it's free.
Yeah,
it's free. And you don't
Warzone.
Yeah,
I think
Warzone.
it's called.
Yeah, Warzone.
I suck at shooting games, so
I not that good either. But I'll play. I've got some old coworkers that I'm still good friends with.
That's
play.
cool.
And that's kind of how we hang out. That and we bumping each other. We work different jobs now, but we still work in the same industry. So every once in a while, we bump into each other on, random sites. Job sites
that's
and
cool.
Stuff, so it's always good to see them.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Jamie and Joel, shout out to you guys because I know y'all are listening.
Oh, and I've been dipping my toe into fighting games
nice.
a bit too. Like this game, Guilty Gear Strive, just came out.
Nice.
It's kind of anime-ish, but yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Is it like a Mortal Kombat fighting game? Kinda?
A little bit. The the way that the fights go is a little different than Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of different crazy like animation cancels and stuff, and it's got like an awesome kind of like hand drawn looking art style.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I reckon it's about that time. This is a whiskey podcast, so let's get on to the whiskey.
Yes.
Opening the bottle.
All right. So I'm super excited to try this whiskey, and I've been excited to try it since I ended up getting it. This was actually a gift from Tony and his wife. So I thought, what a good episode to try it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. And this is the Brough Brothers Distillery Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey. This is a brand new distillery, as in they just opened late 2020.
That's a hell of a time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
So the Brough Brothers Distillery is the first and so far the only Black-owned whiskey distillery in the state of Kentucky. It is the creation of Louisville natives and brothers Victor, Bryson, and Kristen Yarbrough. The distillery was established in the city's West End, a historically Black neighborhood that was also home to the first library in the U.S. available to Black citizens, and where boxer Muhammad Ali grew up. The Yarbroughs are hoping to revitalize this area by providing jobs to local and supporting other nearby businesses.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome.
So because this is such a new whiskey, it is very hard to find. You can order it online to be delivered to you if you're in a state that allows that. Currently, they have retailers in Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, Indiana, and Colorado, and are hopefully adding more all the time.
All right. Well, have you taken a sip, Tony? Have you
Yeah,
smelt it? So you
I
went ahead
did.
and took a sip? All right. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've smelt so far. It's a little overwhelming with the, I don't want to say overwhelming. It's got a faint burn to it. A little bit of, it only singed my nose hairs. I guess I'll say it that way.
I'm getting like a vanilla-y, sugary smell from it, maybe an apple on top of that.
Yeah. I was about to say apple, citrusy kind of smell.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of burn your nose hair, not bad. It smells like a bourbon. It's very, very sweet smelling.
Yeah. Honestly, I wanted to say I could smell a little bit of corn in it.
That would make sense. I think it's
Naturally with bourbon.
well, duh, but
It's kind of a little floral too, maybe.
if I really think about it, I can probably pick out almost like a rose.
Yeah. I don't know what enough flowers smell like to get that detailed with it. I don't stop to smell the flowers, as it were.
You don't know.
You got to enjoy
my
life, man.
goodness.
I enjoy it. I just don't enjoy smelling flowers.
All right.
Did you say you found what the notes should
Yes.
be? Okay, cool. What are we supposed to smell?
Attractive floral aromas of
Hey,
in bloom red roses
Damn.
with apples and nutmeg.
I'm not gonna lie. When you said a rose, I was like, no way.
That's-
But apparently, I'm wrong.
Megan's nose is calibrated very well.
The dogs rub off on her.
oh, that's exactly right. Yes.
Also, I can't let it slide without going nutmeg.
Don't mess with me. I had that. Okay.
I think we might have mentioned this on here once or twice.
I still use the email from when I was like 8.
It's hilarious.
That is really funny.
You judge me all you
All
want,
right.
but I don't want to make a new email. So,
What'd you taste in there, Tony?
yeah, what are you
You
thinking?
took a sip.
a little bit of, I don't, maybe like molasses or something. And also it definitely does taste like bourbon, to me. And it's maybe kind of woody too.
Are you typically a bourbon drinker? Do you typically drink scotch or?
I actually haven't tried scotch before. Usually I drink bourbon. I really, if I'm having a cocktail at home, I really like to make an old fashioned.
Okay. All right. I took a sip of this thing, and what I took away from it, it's very muted compared to what I expected. I expected it to be a little bolder.
It is pretty mellow,
just based off the smell, and
Yeah.
it is
Compared
very
to how strong it smells, it's not nearly as reflective in that.
mellow is a great word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like mellow. It's definitely a spicy whiskey, like a warm spicy though.
Yeah,
Like
the
it
the
doesn't-
warmth of it is definitely there.
Yeah, it doesn't linger. The spice does not
No,
linger.
yeah.
no.
I'm struggling to get any flavor.
I
Like,
definitely get
it's-
corn.
It's going so fast that I'm struggling.
I definitely get corn. I do think I'm tasting like a molasses or something,
Something sweet.
some sort of sweet, syrupy type of sweetness. I'm trying to pick out anything else. Like it has a good flavor. It's just very hard to identify individual tastes.
Yeah, and it passes very quickly, and the finish is really short as well. The burn is the longest thing that hangs around, and it's a very. I mean, you guys that listen, you know me. I don't like an intense burn, and it's very mild. It's a minty. It's kind of like a hybrid. The burn between like a big red gum type of burn and a mint.
Yeah.
That's a
Like
good description.
peppermint burn.
Yeah, I agree.
It falls somewhere in between that, and it lingers, but it's you know me. I don't like a burn. And it's a good burn that's lingering. It's like a 1.5
Yeah.
on the burn scale. I'm gonna mess around and drink all of it now, just trying to
Trying to figure out what it tastes like.
get the taste. Yeah.
The initial taste for sure is where that sweet molasses comes in. The mid, I'm getting a cereal grain, like the corn.
Yeah, the corn. Yeah.
And then the end, it is really fast. Like there's not a lingering aftertaste.
I got a lingering aftertaste. It's definitely an oaky aftertaste that time. I was able to pay attention to it.
Yeah. That must be the wood.
That's the wood you get.
Yeah.
It's oaky.
Okay. Interesting. Well, let's see what we're supposed to be tasting. Green apple and pear
Huh.
with ginger and nutmeg. All right.
Nutmeg.
Well, leave me alone. Let's see. I found another review on a different website. Let's pull up their.
Apple and pear, huh?
Yeah.
Apple and that's really interesting.
Okay. This person's review is 100% opposite side of the world. Soft brown sugar and cookie dough with a cinnamon spike and vanilla ice cream.
I could maybe see the brown sugar and the cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any fruit flavors in this at all.
No, me neither.
No, not at all. I definitely am getting more sweet baked goods type
Yeah.
flavors. So I would agree brown sugar, cinnamon, vanilla. I smell the apple on it, but I'm not tasting any type of apple or anything lingering like that.
I guess maybe the bite at the end has a similar tartness to it that you could maybe associate with like green apple.
Okay. All right.
Do me a favor and pull that microphone. Like, get,
Oh, my
get
bad.
it. No,
Yeah.
you're good. You can move it however you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, twist it. Just get it like
Okay.
maybe an inch or so away.
How about that? Yeah. Cool.
All right.
All right.
There we go. Just
Oh.
want to make sure. Everything sounds all good.
Yeah.
And I, as I mentioned to you guys last week, I'm trying. I got this new mic and it's hard. I realized the last episode I wasn't loud enough again, so I cranked. So hopefully I'm not too loud this time. I cranked the volume.
It's like the voice of God.
I am the voice of God. But yeah, so all right. I guess with that, y'all have anything else you want to mention about this before we move on?
No, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
All right. Well, we'll move on and we'll move into the wonder segment.
It's time for the wonder segment.
All right, Tony. So this is really going to be your ball game. I know pretty much nothing on anything security related and protecting yourself online. I don't like research into like why you shouldn't use smart devices or like have certain apps turned off or whatever. Everything's always running. I don't know. I don't get where or why I should care, I guess.
Now, see, that's where we differ because
yeah, I know.
I understand, like, I'm not by any means a genius, but like I have a VPN that I run. I try to limit my permissions. Like, obviously I don't limit a ton of them because, convenience, but I understand that I'm probably being watched because of that.
Yeah.
And, I understand there are negative consequences with that as well, but I don't know to what extent, I guess. So I feel like I've got a toe dipped in, but no more than just like, not even the big toe. It's like the pinky toe.
The pinky toe.
I'm like looking on the horizon and I see the water. Like,
well, I can tell you that you should jump in because the water is
Warm?
kind of scary and tearing down democracy.
all right. I like that. I don't like that, but I like
a sucker
your
for
description.
gallows humor. You have actually hit the nail right on the head, Tyler, where you're saying like when you go for convenience, you are trading away some security, like just by the nature of not only digital security, but I mean, even with physical security, right? Like if somebody wants to come into this room, the most secure room you could have is like, 18 feet thick concrete walls and, steel rebar so a signal can't get out and like no door, right? But, if you got a room without a door, it's
You're
no
stuck.
good to anybody, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody can use that. So you got to put a door in there. But when you put the door in, that's a way somebody else could get in too. So it's definitely a trade-off you have to make. When you say to what extent, that depends on something called your threat model. So a threat model is like if you think about who might want to do you harm.
Everyone.
So
That's how I go through life.
that's man, I'll tell you what, as somebody who struggles with anxiety, I wouldn't be able to do that. But it's like, for the most part, if you're just your average everyday Joe, the people who might want to do you harm from a cybersecurity perspective are looking for targets of opportunity. They are probably just looking for ways to make money, and they want to exploit the targets that require the least work possible, right? Because it's like a return on investment thing.
Yeah.
So
You're investing a small amount of time to get the most.
Yeah.
yeah,
Suckers.
exactly.
Same reason why you target different houses. I mean, the house with the dog is going to be a lot harder to get into than the house next door that doesn't have a dog.
Or a security system, or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
I shouldn't say this, but you brought up security system. Let's just say I have a family member who steals the security system signs
That's
and puts
funny.
them-
I've heard of people doing that.
One of my family members does that.
Oh.
Puts it
is-
out front.
Speaking of dogs, my dog actually knocked ours over like 2 days ago, and I keep meaning to go out there and pick it up and put it back in the ground, and I haven't done it yet. It's
Man.
it's laying face down in the yard.
Well,
Like,
at
I
least
should
you got the
probably-
dogs.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty funny. So yeah, like there are a lot of reasons people might hack, but probably the most common one that everybody would have to worry about is for profit. So if your information gets compromised when they hack Experian, for instance, they're probably going to try to sell that information, and maybe they want to steal somebody's identity or apply for credit, or they could use that information later on to social engineer something else. Social engineering is what you might call like human hacking, like where they, for example, send you an email that says like, hey, we know this is your bank and you got to click this link to, I don't know, stop us from taking all the money out of your account or whatever. Like, and then you click the link and they steal your bank password or whatever. Like, so that's social engineering. But like I said, the way that they want to do that is at scale. And so to do it at scale, you want to weed out all the tough targets. So if if you ever look at a spam email, sometimes it's really funny to look at spam emails because they have, like horrible grammar and tons of typos, and it's just like so obviously fake. And when you see that, you might think like, man, these people are morons. Like they can't even put a sentence together. And it's like, actually, that lack of perceived professionalism is working in their favor in some respects, because they know that anybody who's going to pick out those mistakes in that email is probably somebody they are not going to be able to fool anyway. So they're self-selecting for the suckers.
So that it's intentional.
It could be.
That-
yeah.
Wow.
there's
I did
a
not
lot
think that.
There's a lot of people hacking in other countries too. It might just be that English is not their first language. But even if it is, you could make the case that if you want a more effective phishing email, maybe you want to have a few typos and stuff.
Wow.
So, and we talked a little bit before we started recording here, but I mentioned to you my workplace got hacked right before I joined it.
Right.
And because of that, they periodically send out phishing alert emails. And it's like you said, it's very...
It's like a test.
Yeah,
They do them at my job too,
It's
yeah.
a test, but it's very like you could see it from
Like
a mile away.
obvious.
Definitely.
But they got one of the directors
Oof.
with one because
that's a bad look.
It came from a very official. It was very official looking. What they said, it said our HR department and most
did they
of
show
them.
like did they let everybody know what it looked like? Like how
No, I don't think so. I don't remember exactly all the details, but somebody was telling me that basically she got sent a lot more after that. She got tested all the
That's
time.
funny.
But yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've had a couple come make it through my work that weren't actual, weren't tests. They were actual ransomware emails. So.
Well, a ransomware email and a phishing email is two different things.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
I mean, you could get infected with a ransomware through a phishing email.
okay.
But ransomware is like its own separate beast. Like you might say that phishing is the way you sneak into the building, and ransomware is the bad thing you do when you're in.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's like
Yeah.
you use a fake ID to get in the building, and then you plant a bomb somewhere in the building.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
use a drastic example.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Less
and for
less
anybody-
drastic than a bomb.
Anybody listening who doesn't know what ransomware is, it's like malware that encrypts all your files, and then you can't access any of your data. You try to sign into your computer, and it's like, you've been hacked by these Russian guys. Like, pay us 20 bitcoins if you want your stuff back, and then we'll help you decrypt your data or whatever. And
And they can do that remotely with like a virus or something.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So
Wow.
like probably, you maybe downloaded an application that you thought was legit, or clicked a link and tried to download something off of that, or whatever, and you've downloaded this application that then systematically goes through all the data on your computer and encrypts it, and then maybe also can spread to other computers on your same network. And so like with the Colonial Pipeline hack, for instance, they hit the business side. They didn't actually hit the pipeline itself. What happened was they hit the business side of things, where you have like corporate or whatever, and encrypted a network there. And from what I understand, I think they had to stop the pipeline because they didn't have any way of charging anybody or tracking what was being used, because their business systems were down.
Yeah, so they
should have
lost.
just let it run.
Yeah, they lost their ledger.
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah. And now too, because with a lot of companies, they say, well, whatever, we'll just restore from backups, right? If they have backups, they should. But even now, even if you do that, they'll say, well, we copied all your stuff before we encrypted it, and so if you don't pay us, we're gonna release it to the world or whatever, or sell it to your competitor, or
blackmail
God
on
knows, all
top
kinds
of
of stuff. Yeah, blackmail on top of blackmail, basically.
sure.
So yeah, it's kind of an evolving threat at the moment.
So you mentioned something earlier, and it raised a question in my mind. I think it kind of goes back to the threat model and just kind of, the everyday Joe. They're basically looking to steal your identity, steal your credit card, make money off of what you have. What can the everyday Joe do? What is like the easiest step they could take, or maybe a couple easy steps they could take to protect themselves?
So I actually put together some notes about that. I would say the first two things that you should do are, first of all, get a password manager. I use LastPass. 1Password is another really popular one. And since LastPass started to charge everybody recently, I started to pay because I was too lazy to switch. I've been a LastPass user for years. So, but another one that's free is called Bitwarden. So that will be a tool that you can use to store all of your passwords.
What's to stop them from getting hacked?
So I was about to address that actually. So LastPass, who I use, has been hacked before, but they are a very security conscious company, and they keep their network where they store user passwords entirely separated from their business network.
Mm-hmm.
And so the business network got hacked, but the place where they store all the passwords did not.
Okay.
So that's, it is a matter of kind of who you decide to go with. You hopefully you choose one that has a lot of good security practices, but there are other alternatives too. Like I know some people use an application that's free called KeePass. It's KeePass, and that one actually you just have an encrypted database of passwords stored locally on your computer, and you can put it on a flash drive and carry it around with you. And I think the encryption on that is pretty strong too. But for somebody like me, if I've got all my passwords on a flash drive, and I need to put a password on my phone, it doesn't do a whole lot of good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So
plus, I'll be honest, I'm absent-minded as hell. I'd probably lose a flash drive. So,
fair. Fair. So that was going to be I have a couple questions when it comes to password managers, because I've texted you and asked about them before, and then I've never committed to using one. Do they generate passwords for you?
Oh yeah, that's actually what I was going to say next. So you always want to use a unique password for every account that you have everywhere, because something that's really easy to do is if they compromise your password in one place, they will definitely try to use that same password to check whether or not they can log into your stuff everywhere else. Yeah, so you want LastPass and these other tools all will help you to randomize a password. Like in my LastPass account, I use a completely unique randomized password, and it's like 16 characters long for literally everything in there. The great thing is I don't have to know any of those passwords. I just know the password to log into my LastPass. That's it.
So my other question is, if I get something like LastPass, and obviously it's on my computer, but then I want to log into my email from my tablet, how does LastPass connect to my other devices?
So LastPass, I haven't used 1Password or Bitwarden before. I assume they probably do something similar. But LastPass has browser extensions for Firefox and Chrome, and then they also have apps on Android and iOS.
Okay, so you would use an app is it a background app that you don't have to do anything with?
You would have to sign into it.
Okay.
And then like with the Firefox and Chrome extensions and the app on Android, usually it can autofill a field. So like all you have to do is it'll show a little icon in a password field. Like if you're looking at Facebook, your login or whatever, it'll show a little icon. You click on it and it autofills your password there.
All right. Interesting.
So I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this password manager here. So you tell it what your password is, or you set a password, let's just say for my bank. I set up a password, and then it stores that password and scrambles it.
Yeah. They
essentially,
encrypt
and it
everything.
It just remembers it for me.
Yeah.
And so I don't need to log into my bank anymore. I just need to log
into your bank, but you can copy and paste the password out of LastPass, or have the browser extension
fills it out
for you.
So you don't have to memorize it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to use like password 123 anymore. It will turn.
God, no. Yeah, exactly.
It will turn it into something like ABF ! 1297.
Yeah, I mean
AQL. Yeah,
it's going to be
way more complicated than that.
16 characters is what I use. Yeah.
Okay. What was the other thing you mentioned? There was two things people could do. What was the second thing?
The other thing you want to do is enable what they call multi-factor authentication everywhere you possibly can. If you've ever seen that thing where like they text you a six-digit code and then you have to type it in after you type in your password, or sometimes there'll be an app like the Google Authenticator app, or there's another one called Authy that you use, and it basically it's so when you have authentication to anything, there's what they call different factors of authentication, and it's basically different ways that they can confirm you are who you say you are. And those are divided up into categories. So you can authenticate through something you know, like a password, something you have, like your phone, something that you are, like biometric authentication, like a thumbprint, or something you do. So like sometimes there are applications, usually for like higher security stuff, where like it'll analyze the way that you type, and everybody's got like an individual time between keystrokes and stuff, and it'll authenticate you that way too. Or so they could also do somewhere you are. So like maybe they look at what IP address you're logging in from and base it on your geographic location too.
So I was actually just about to ask about the where, because I feel like there's a very basic version that goes on with my home security system. Like when I'm within a certain area, it disables. Essentially, like I'm home, you don't need to run now.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Same principle.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what multi-factor authentication does is it is verifying your identity through more than one of those things.
Okay.
So instead of just the password, it's also, maybe it's taking the 6-digit code off that app on your phone, which is something you have. And that makes it a lot harder to compromise your account. So even if they get your password, which, I mean, if that happens, you should still reset it, of course. But
Sure.
At least there's like another line of defense.
Yeah,
which is,
you're if you have your phone, you're gonna get that message.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you're like, I didn't log in.
Yeah. And what they call that defense in depth. It's like a really important concept in security.
And that kind of goes back to what I was getting at before of convenience of like, now there's an extra step in the process.
Exactly.
And for my personal stuff, typically I don't mind that. For my work stuff, oh Lord, it's so frustrating.
That's understandable. You know, a lot of people, I think, are. It's funny you mention that. I think a lot of people are. They're like, well, it's just work, whatever. I don't care. Like, whereas they get annoyed if their personal stuff is more difficult to deal with. For me, it's the opposite. Like, you know, I spend 40 hours a week or 45 hours a week, even, you know, working. Like, I want my work to be as easy and maybe even enjoyable as possible.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, something, I'm definitely with you there. And to that end, actually, like text messages are not only maybe not as easy as having an authenticator app, but they're also less secure. So there's something, and this is kind of a more difficult thing to do. Somebody's not going to be doing this to you if all they want is to steal like $500 from you. Like,
they're going to be targeting.
They're going to be targeting
fish.
somebody specific for something important, probably.
Sure.
With this, but like, there's something called SIM swapping, where they can essentially call your phone company and convince the person on the other end of the phone that they're you, and have them send out a duplicate SIM card for the phone. And then if they put that SIM card in their phone, when you try to log in and, you know, that two-factor authentication code gets sent out via text message, it'll go to their phone. And then they, you know, if they have your password, then they can log in. So with an authenticator app, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah. Wow. I know like I said, my work phone has an authenticator app specifically,
Right.
a little different than the text.
Yeah.
So what, do you have any other tips for
So
everyday people?
So going back to social engineering and phishing, like obviously, you know, if you get an email with an attachment in it and you're not expecting an attachment from that specific sender, don't open it. Like, just, you know, unless Megan tells me that she's sending me a picture of Kaylee and Osgood, I'm not going to open an attachment from her that she says is a picture of my dogs, right? Like, because that's, like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, if you do receive something that you're not expecting, whether it's from a friend or family member or a business, reach out to that person on a different channel and be like, hey, did you send me this? Like, you know, if I get that picture from Megan, maybe I'll send her a quick text and be like, hey, did you send me this? Like, or, you know, if I get an email from my bank saying that I need to click this link and log in to whatever, like, I'm not going to do that, but I probably would, like, you know, you'll want to
Give them a call.
Or, I mean, you could email them, but don't click anything in that email to email them. Go to the website and figure out what is the correct email address to email them at.
Yeah.
At least, you know, so you just want to use the correct channel to actually reach who you're trying to reach.
I've actually experienced something similar to that where I've received like an email and I don't remember who it was from. It was either my bank or Bill or somebody I had an account with. And it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
And it was talking something about identity being compromised. And so I actually reached out to the institution. I just dropped it and called them. You know, and turned out it was some kind of potential attack.
Yeah, you did the right thing.
Yeah. So it you know, I'm that type of person. Like I said, I go through my entire life assuming that 99% of the people are untrustworthy and trying to get me in some way, shape, or form. So I don't trust anything.
So I am going to jump in because I listen to and watch and read about a lot of like true crime type things. And one of the things I have always been told, like from my mom ever since I was little, is if you were driving alone somewhere and like a cop goes to pull you over, but it's like a deserted road and you don't know where you are, call 911 and be like, hey, there's a cop behind me. Let them know I'm going to somewhere public.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the operator can tell you, like, yeah, that's a cop, or like, no, that's not. We're going to send officers your actual way.
Sure.
So that almost sounds like it's taking that in a digital form.
It is a really similar concept.
Okay. That helps me understand it better, given it's something physical in the real world that I can compare it to.
Yeah, definitely. To go along with the SIM swapping thing too, you know, if somebody does contact you and says like, hey, we just texted you a 6-digit code, or we need to verify something, open up this app and read me the numbers, like, obviously you don't want to do that.
Sure.
I mean, that is definitely something that can happen too. In terms of other tips, I would say, you know, keep your operating system and any software on your computer up to date. You know, if what they call Patch Tuesday comes up and Microsoft has an update for your computer, it might be a pain, but you know, go ahead and do it.
I am the worst.
Yeah,
I hate those. I postpone.
It can be a
so
real
long.
pain. So one thing that's good though is, especially with Windows 10, there's a feature where you can schedule the installation and the restart. So you know, just leave your computer on at night and schedule it for 2 in the morning, and
you'll never even know what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I would recommend doing to try to make it more painless. But yeah, because I mean that stuff is important. Additionally, if you do have internet connected devices in your home, like what they call the Internet of Things, you know, like if your toaster and your refrigerator and your Alexa and all that hooked up to the internet. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that word. Sorry.
I actually do have
She's
one,
like,
and
yes.
she's listening now.
So sorry, people with the Bezos person in your home. Don't put off updating that stuff either, because those devices are definitely weak points. A lot of those devices actually are not made in such a way that they can be updated. Depending on what you buy, you know, if you're looking to get an internet connected doorbell or refrigerator or whatever, definitely look at when you're doing research and figuring out what you want to get. Make sure you get one that the manufacturer is going to support and issue updates for.
So, you just made me like pucker a little bit there, because I have so many smart devices in this house. I have so many smart lights and so many smart, just random things.
Your temperature is smart.
I noticed that.
I don't want to list them all off. Just I don't want to give people the idea of hacking me and what they can and can't hack. I'm just going to leave it at lights and thermostat. But anyway, are all those things that could be hacked?
It potentially. I mean, you know, there's a lot of those devices might be like, oh, hey, you know, you could log in on your way home from work and turn the AC down, or, you know, turn your lights on, whatever. But, you know, if that's something that you're able to do, that means your network is out on the internet. And if the manufacturer of those devices isn't properly securing the login to reach that page, then there could be somebody writing an automated script to, you know, crawl that manufacturer website and find all the open logins and be like, okay, well, this is how many thermostats I could compromise or whatever.
And so is that something, if they were to compromise the thermostat, is that something they could parlay into getting into my network?
Yeah. So like from there, they could do what's called pivoting, where they could then scan the network, see what other devices are on there, find your computer and try to get in there or something. And again, it all depends on the threat model and what lengths somebody's willing to go to. But
if you piss the wrong person off, they can come after you hard.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing too, right? Like a lot of this stuff it could be done by somebody who's a stalker or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, an abusive ex or whatever. Like that's something that I've heard of too. Like it just, as I said, it depends on your threat model.
Wow.
Yikes. Lots of things I was not.
Sobering. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sobering's a great word.
Yeah. I would not think that someone could use my thermostat to get to my computer.
Yeah, I thought I was doing pretty good having
ideally, they shouldn't be able to, right? Like if you get one that can be updated by the manufacturer and a company that is, making their products responsibly, hopefully that's not something you have to worry about. Or if, a vulnerability is found, they'll issue an update and you will follow the advice of your friendly neighborhood security professionals and install it.
I'm just going to say all of my devices are 100% from reputable companies. So I am very happy with that.
So yeah, that's another thing. And yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff too, if it's something you never even thought about updating, right? Like just Google the manufacturer, Google the model of whatever it is. Chances are you'll be able to find like the owner's manual as a PDF file on the internet and download it, and you can read that and it'll show you what to do. Maybe that sounds like an obvious thing to say. I don't know. But for a lot of people, I find when it comes to technology, they see a computer screen and they like freeze up. They don't know what to do. Or they freak out. They get scared.
I think a lot of it is just kind of common sense, and I hate to sound so cliche, but common sense just is not that common anymore. Like I said earlier, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I got a suspicious looking email from a bank or something, and immediately I said, "Well, this looks strange.
Yeah,
let me call them and make sure this is right." Instead of, "Oh, I'm just going to trust this blindly."
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, right? Like if you get a phone call or an email or whatever, and you get a gut feeling like something is off, trust that gut feeling, even if you're wrong, and you call and verify and it is legit.
What harm is it?
Yeah, you haven't hurt yourself.
So and you something you just said made me think of something. You mentioned people calling.
Yeah.
What Mike. So a little bit of, excuse me, I got the whiskey burps. A little bit of the anecdotal story here. My grandmother randomly calls me.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Yeah.
She's like, "You just called me." I was like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Well," and it's like, "Oh, I knew it wasn't you. I got a phone call saying, 'Grandma, it's me,' blah, blah, blah." Now, I don't call my grandmother grandma, so she always knows when it's not me. But is that a form of?
It is. So, well, I don't know if I would call it cyber, like a cyber threat, but it's definitely social engineering, where there are scam artists out there who will target the elderly specifically because they know that they're more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the person is older and their memory isn't so good or whatever, and they're like, "I'm your great grandson and I'm in the hospital and need money," or whatever, like that is a really common scam.
Yeah. Like I said, fortunately, I don't call my grandmother grandma, so
she knew.
She knows every time they call. She knows when it's me, and she's got her wits about her for the most part.
Right, that's good. Yeah.
She calls me jokingly, like, "Oh, you just called me."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Man.
Do they make their voice sound like yours somehow, or
no,
do they just?
They don't have to, because if the person is that out of it, or they can't hear that well, or whatever,
so
that's terrifying.
I will say,
it's awful.
I just said my grandmother has her wits about her. My grandfather is not as put together at this time in his life, and a couple years ago he actually gave his social security number out to somebody over the phone. Man. I don't know whatever came of that.
That sucks.
So I don't think anything. I think it was a legitimate thing.
I've heard news reports where people have been fleeced out of like literally their life savings.
Mm.
Like there's a lot of stuff like that going around for sure.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
People
exactly.
People suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people suck. We
For
ruin
sure.
everything.
Yeah.
So, okay, way back when I was a dumb 18-year-old, I was trying to find, jobs to get me through college. I did end up giving my social security number over the phone to what I thought was a potential employer, and called my mom, and she was like, "You're a bloody idiot." And I freaked out, stressed out about it, but nothing ever happened. Could something happen in 10 years and it be linked back to that? Like, did I potentially maybe fuck myself?
I would say, like, you definitely want to keep an eye on your credit report. But I mean, I feel like if it's not been used by now,
It probably
it's
wouldn't be.
likely that you might be okay. I don't know, because if that ended up in somebody's database somewhere, and it's probably getting traded around on the dark web on different forums and stuff, or sold in a list, like it could get, I don't know, it just depends. Who knows what happened with it.
Yikes.
You mentioned the dark web, and this has nothing really to do with anything, but I've always wanted to get on there and just browse around and see, but I feel like I'll accidentally click the wrong thing and end up buying somebody from another country that I just like, I don't want to take any part of that. Just accidentally click the wrong thing and a pound of heroin shows up at my door or something.
Yeah.
I owe somebody $16,000. Like, what I do?
Yeah, I mean, it's I haven't really messed around with that too much. I know that it's you basically use something called Tor to get on there, but
I've listened to one podcast where they explored it for they just explored around, explained what it was, and
yeah,
I essentially had the same mindset I did, except they actually went on there and they were like, you know what? I need to leave before I do something that I can't reverse.
Well, and the funny thing is, a lot of the like all the addresses I think all of them are .onion addresses, or at least the majority of them. But a lot of them are seemingly random, like character strings. Like it might just be random letters .onion, and so it's like unless you pick up the address somewhere, like you're not going to know to go there.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to find that specific.
So now, I mean, if you Google that, like show me all the coolest dark web sites, like
yeah,
please don't Google that.
I kind of want to go on Reddit and see if there's show me.
Reddit r/dark web.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, that sounds like how you end up on the kiddie porn sites.
Oh, yes, it does.
Honestly,
No, thank
that's
you.
the main reason I've never actually gone on there. Is like I'm terrified I'm going to see something I cannot unsee.
Honestly, I completely forgot about that aspect
Yeah,
of it. So
that's the main thing for me. Because I like I mentioned, I've got like a lab machine set up in my house that I can like mess with things and not, I keep it separated from everything else on my network, and then that way I can do whatever I want and not have to worry about affecting anything adversely. Like, if I want to look at a virus, I could download it, or if I'm trying to hack something, it's probably like a virtual machine that I've got running in the background, and I don't have to worry about accidentally hitting something else out on the internet or whatever.
Sure.
Like, but even then, like, I'm not gonna mess with that.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you have that lab computer, and I wrote it down earlier. What exactly is that? It's just something you use to, let's say there's like a new virus that's been released.
So reverse engineering is something that I really want to get into. It's an area that I'm super green in. At the moment, my main focus has been trying to learn things about what's called red teaming, what's also called penetration testing. Basically, you're learning to hack ethically so that you can find the weaknesses.
Hackers, right?
Yeah, that's another term for it. Like white hat hacking, ethical hacking is like so that you can find the weaknesses and report them so they can be fixed.
So yeah, I've heard of that. That's like the FBI and
a lot of companies have teams of those people too.
Sure.
So that's kind of my interest right now. And it's just smart to not be connected to the internet when you're doing a lot of that stuff as like a very cautious step, so that if you're running any kind of like automated thing on your network, or you're just, going through a bunch of IP addresses, you don't accidentally end up hitting something out on the internet or whatever.
Sure.
Which, I mean, it would be kind of hard to do that anyway, because IP addresses, there's a subset of them that are like local only. So you would only ever hit internal addresses. But I'm the type of person that's very risk averse. So I'm like overly cautious.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like you kind of have to be in certain situations like that. So
yeah, when I was studying for my degree, I read a textbook by a guy, I can't remember his last name all of a sudden, Bruce something. He's a really famous author in the world of cryptography, but he described how a lot of people in cybersecurity have what they call like a professional paranoia, where like, they have to be paranoid for their jobs, and it kind of bleeds over into a lot of other areas of life. And that's definitely something that I've picked up.
Your wife has joked about how the more like technologically advanced or knowledgeable you are, the less you like technology.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's funny. I legitimately love technology. That's why part of why I do what I do. But in terms of the bad stuff that it could do, I definitely get worried about it more and more.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's not so much the technology. The technology is no different than a hammer. If you get a person that wants to pick that tool up and use it as a weapon, so be it.
Yeah.
They're going to do bad things with that tool.
Right.
So unfortunately, it's just a people thing.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust people.
Yeah.
So we've been going on. We hit the hour mark now. So you got any last words you want to say? We'll wrap up, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the whiskey here. And then if you got anything else you want to talk about, just feel free. Throw it on now.
Sure. Yeah. So just a quick review, good password hygiene is super important. Use a password manager. Use unique passwords across all your accounts. Enable multi-factor authentication. If you receive a suspicious communication, whether it's a phishing email, text, phone call, whatever, contact whoever that other party is directly. Don't, use another out-of-band channel. Call them or email them from the number on their website. Send them a text if it's a friend, whatever. And update all your software, and think about your threat model. So just quick sum up all the points there. And if anybody else is interested in cybersecurity, the reason I got into this field is, I guess 10 or 11 years ago, I was messing around on YouTube. I just learned to use Linux. I just installed it for the first time, and I was messing around on a computer, and I watched a YouTube video of this channel called Hack5, HAK5. And there was a dude in a coffee shop at a university close to my hometown. He was at William and Mary University in Williamsburg, Virginia. He used something called a Wi-Fi pineapple to intercept Wi-Fi communications in this coffee shop and basically steal like Facebook passwords. And it was just this little device like glued to the underside of a reusable coffee cup that he had sitting next to his laptop. And it like blew my freaking mind. Like,
wow.
It blew my mind. Nowadays, it's a little harder to do that because HTTPS or encrypted communications for websites is a lot more common. And also people, in theory, tend to encrypt their Wi-Fi a lot more. But yeah, like ever since then, I was like, holy shit, that is so cool.
When you said that, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, right? Dude, so ever since then, I'm like, I want to learn that. And so ever since then, I've been really interested in cybersecurity. I finally finished up my degree last year, and also got my CISSP certification. So yeah, it's like
Awesome.
Living the dream, man.
Nice.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
we're so glad you came in here and taught us
Yes.
and everybody out there about
Yes,
it.
thank you so much. I learned a lot, so I'm
I'm terrified now. Even
Yep.
I am thinking in all seriousness, I'm thinking hard about changing all the light bulbs back out in my house. It's like-
I would, for real though, there are resources you can find. You can, what a lot of people do is set up like a Google News alert where like you might just put in like, Philips Hue light, set up a Google News alert. And then if there's some new vulnerability found, you'll see it on Google News. And, that way, you need to go update the firmware hopefully Philips would put out an update or whatever.
okay.
So there's definitely things you can do. And like I said, it's all about, for the most part, the low-hanging fruit. If you think about your threat model, like if you are, I'd just pick a random, if you're a cashier at a grocery store, right? And you come home and you like to knit and you play video games and that's it. Like,
Who's going to really go after you? Kind of
nobody's, unless it's personal, nobody's going to pick you out of the millions to come after and expend all this effort on. It just doesn't make sense. That people want to make money. So if they're
unless it's like a randomized thing,
even then, like, because if it's randomized and they put all this effort into going after you specifically, they don't know if that effort is going to pay off or not. They might, if they steal your bank account information, you got $5 in your account, and your credit is shot, and they can't even do anything with your identity. It's like, well, now what are you going to do? You
wasted.
You spent all these hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. So most of what people are going to be doing is going to be automated half the time. Like automated phone calls, automated phishing emails, automated trying to hack different websites and stuff. Or it's going to be, even if it is sent to you specifically, it's going to be done in such a way that they're really looking for the low-hanging fruit. So you want to make sure that you're not the low-hanging fruit. You just got to do like the basic stuff. Now, if you, if you like me and you go, joining Discord servers full of hackers and stuff, maybe your threat model is a little different. Or, like I actually heard about there were Korean state-sponsored actors targeting security researchers on Twitter. They would like build a rapport with them in tweets and be like, "Hey, yeah, let's research this thing together, right? Like, let me send you this thing I've been reverse engineering." And then they send them something that's actually a Trojan or whatever, and then they're stealing like research, right? Like, so for those people, their threat model is obviously different.
Yeah.
Or if you work for the FBI or the CIA, or you're high up in government or whatever, your threat model is probably a lot different.
Sure. Yeah, CEO of a company.
Yeah, or
faces
that too.
competition
Like
from another. They may hire hackers.
Even
in competition.
If you're high up in a really major corporation, I would say that your threat model is different even when you're at home.
Yeah,
because maybe somebody wants to compromise your home network as a way to pivot over to your corporate network.
Yeah.
So it's all about that threat model. If you're just a regular Joe Schmo and you're not a millionaire and you're not putting yourself out there in a way that you might come into contact with something shady, like you probably don't have to worry about that much. Like there's just this bare minimum level of effort that you can put in and provide yourself with a lot of peace of mind.
When you said the Discord chat rooms full of hackers, what I immediately thought is like kind of a Game of Thrones-esque tavern just full of like mercenaries, because that's basically what it is like just everybody in there's a mercenary. You don't trust anybody. You're all feeling each other out. Like
well, to be honest, I attended DEF CON, which is a security conference. They did it virtually.
They call it DEF CON?
It's DEF CON, DEFCON.
Like DEF CON 5.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Sorry.
It's in Vegas every year. But they went hybrid this year, and I attended virtually. It was my first one ever. It was a blast. I participated in what they call Capture the Flag, which is it's kind of like hacking, but you're trying to find just this randomized string of characters, and then you turn it in and verify that you found the thing, and you get points for it. It's like a way for people to learn to hack and to show off their skills, basically. It's a lot of fun. So I did some of that. I met some really cool people. Definitely learned a lot. Listened to a lot of talks and stuff. But there's a Discord server full of people who are attending the con and participating in all these activities and stuff. But it's like, they are all there to learn and have fun, but they are also all hackers. So, it's like, if you get a message from somebody, you got to think about what their intentions might be.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do feel like there's a tendency in the security community to go a little hard on what they call the OPSEC, like operational security, like, protecting your identity and stuff. I've encountered a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't want to dox myself and tell you my real name.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can understand that a little bit to an extent. Especially if you've had a stalker or something, say, like, you got to be careful. But sometimes I also feel like people will engage not as authentically as they could, to the point where, like, it's harder to form a connection with that person. And it's like, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have a really cool conversation and get to know this person and exchange knowledge and stuff. And you can't, because they're like worried about their OPSEC. And it's like, with some people, it turns into a big dick contest. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, oh, give me a break. My name is Tony. I don't care. Like, that's why, like,
come at me, bro.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're the mercenary.
Yeah.
And the thing,
maybe not come at me, bro, but like, let's just be humans, man.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I get you.
Just like, Megan asked, like, oh, should we use your full name? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I've always been a kind of what you see is what you get kind of person too. So maybe that's just me.
Well, Tony, we appreciate you coming on here and
thank you so much.
Us. Yeah, absolutely. We're excited. You're our first, like I said, non-boyfriend or girlfriend, spouse, whatever you want to, life partner, whatever you want to call them, guest. So
yes. So
a round of applause.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks y'all for having me. This has been really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned so much. I think I spent most of the episode with my mouth just like.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're watching, you're gonna see us both. What? So all right. With that, I think we're gonna go ahead and move on and talk a little bit about this whiskey.
What about a Tyler Nugget? Do you have one today?
Oh yeah, I've got a Tyler Nugget. Oops.
Okay, we got to do that first.
Trivia with Tyler.
All right. So I got a good one today. Smacked me around last night, actually. So early people would drink a ton of water before they went to bed if they knew they had to be up early. Their full bladder would rouse them before the sun rose, meaning that they could wake up before the dawn. Native Americans also used this method called overdrinking well into the 20th century. And so it smacked me at about 4 o'clock this morning.
Nice.
So it works, guys.
That is actually kind of brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's kind of brilliant.
Yep.
It doesn't work for me because I wake up at 2 a.m. and I have to pee, and I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, I'm not saying I was thrilled about waking up at 4 this morning to pee, but I'd woke up at 4 to pee, and then I went back to bed until 10:30. But apparently I needed it. So, all right, now we're gonna go ahead and talk about this whiskey.
There you go.
If I can find the button. No, I lied again.
Oh.
Mail time.
And I also talked during our mail time segment,
You're
ring
fired.
jingle thing.
I can edit that out. So this week we actually do have mail. We got 2 mails, and we are so happy. Thank you guys. I kind of want to save one just for like next week when we probably won't get one. So our first message this week comes from John the Brough. I don't think we've said their last name. So so it's Shelby's brother, friend John. He says, Strike 2. So I'm sorry I keep giving you guys duds. I really thought you'd like that Starlight. If you've had Angel's Envy, it reminds me of that with a little more burn, which may be the problem. All of these barrel picks are 110 proof and higher, which I have had to adjust to the way I drink them. I don't inhale through my nose, but rather swallow and exhale out the mouth to avoid too much nasal burn. I tend to pick up more of the flavors that way. Hopefully I'll have a winner amongst the group. Anyway, Tyler, you don't look right without the beard. Sounds like this is temporary, but I would encourage you to wear a costume beard until you grow the real one back. Seriously.
That's a hell of a burn.
I think I just got called ugly, guys.
Tyler says he doesn't like the burn, and the listeners send him the burn.
Yeah, for real. I don't like the burn in whiskeys, and I get burned. No, you're right. I hate it. I wish I had a fake beard to wear, but I don't. I could get like a not a merkin, but
Like a
Balaclava.
no, like one of the fake beards they wear in Hollywood. Not a merkin. Merkin's for the vagina, but that's like the fake pubes that women wear, but like a face merkin.
What in the world? I've never heard of a merkin. What
For
in
real? Yeah, dude.
MERKIN.
It's like a wig for your pubes.
Yeah.
what in the hell?
Anyway, yeah.
Why?
I guess some people like to shave them, and their role requires they have some. I don't know.
Well, when I pull up merkin,
Please don't tell me it's like a redneck with a flag.
no,
Like that merkin.
no. Like the very first thing that pulls up is Jared Leto. I don't know why, but
Oh Lord.
That's interesting. Okay.
so yeah. Anyway,
so, friend John, I'm sure one of these next two is going to be great. We're excited. We're going to get back to them next week. We'll have number 3, which I'm not going to spoil what that is, but we are excited for it. And also the beard, hopefully, like I said earlier, I'm hoping it's back by the next episode, since we're going to end up missing one. Our next message comes from friend Morgan, who I'm going to shout out. She is a loyal Patreon supporter. So shout out to you, friend Morgan.
thank you, Morgan.
Thank you for supporting this podcast.
You are amazing, and we love you.
Absolutely.
We love your husband, and we love Pompeii
We love all of you guys.
and all your other animals.
They have more animals?
Oh yeah, they have a husky and a kitty.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh. So Morgan says, I voted, referring to our poll we had about the new segment. She goes on to say, I love hearing your personal stories in the new segment. Looking forward to more fun. She says, I would love to be in the pod chair. I'm eager to sample some whiskey. Let's get to 5,000 listens and Megan in a pink dress. Should add a tiara to the outfit too.
Thanks, Morgan.
Keep it up, guys. Cheers, friend Morgan. I like that suggestion.
Thanks,
So,
friend Morgan.
We're adding at least a fake plastic tiara.
I can't afford the
No,
dress,
we-
let alone a real
We
tiara.
can't
So
do
let's.
that. Yeah, no, we're not that rich. We don't get that many donations.
Okay, so
Tiara,
pink heels,
pink dress, pink
pink
heels.
dress,
That is hilarious.
white stockings.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Woo.
I'm so excited.
Hey, at least you don't have to live with yours for several weeks afterward.
That's true.
I'm just
That
going to
is
post
true.
it everywhere, stickied.
Well, thanks.
All right, guys. Now,
Oh my gosh.
I've teased it so much. We're
Yeah.
officially going to review the whiskey. If I can find the button. Damn it. Where is it? There it is.
You need a label maker. You go to Best Buy?
They're labeled over here.
Oh.
They're labeled here. I just have to find them whenever.
Final thoughts.
It also doesn't help that we've added things, and so they've moved around, and I keep looking in its old spot and it's moved. So all right.
Well, real quick before we say anything,
right.
I'm gonna do a real quick shout out to friend John for that literal email 2 seconds ago, where he talked about not inhaling, but just exhaling as you drink. I tried that and I got a lot more flavor out of this.
Interesting.
So wait, you didn't inhale at all?
I didn't inhale. I just
When did you breathe before you took it? Did you breathe like long before the glass was there?
I took a breath and then I held it, I drank, and then as I was drinking, I blew it out. Watching Tyler's face.
I tasted chocolate.
Okay, that's more flavor.
That is more flavor.
That's really now.
You
I
want-
don't have any. I'm
Pour
want a
some more?
splash?
yeah, just a tiny bit.
All right, I'm not.
super tiny
I don't
bit.
trust myself to open it, so you do it. I'm gonna swing it across the room.
Tell me when.
That's good.
All right, so I'm gonna have to do that with all of our whiskeys now. So
I am too. Thank you, friend John.
yeah,
That is-
that's a huge tip. So shout out to any of our whiskey drinkers that listen. If you want to get some more flavors, don't
Yeah.
inhale. Right?
I
You
think I
got
got the chocolate too.
Yeah.
Nifty.
Interesting. That might be a game changer.
It almost made the texture a little bit different too. That's really interesting.
Now we're all just gonna sit here and drink a little bit more
I know,
before we
right?
talk. So we're gonna get a lot of dead air, but
No, I'll try to keep talking. So
All right.
I was really fascinated by this topic. This was wonderful. And like I said, if anybody listens, I don't think anybody listens just for the whiskey stuff. I think most people listen to both parts of it. But if you listen to the whiskey, I would highly recommend go back and listen to the entire what is that called?
Wonder segment?
Yeah. I didn't
bless.
I didn't we didn't really wonder. It was kind of more
I mean, it was still a
it
wonder
was
segment.
still a wonder segment. It wasn't a traditional, so I didn't know if I should call it that. But
I'd call it still.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that made us wonder. So.
yeah, we wondered. Go listen to it, y'all, if you do skip.
Yeah, this one's definitely informative. Everyone should listen to it. Even 75-year-old grandma needs to hear it.
Yes.
Probably more than anyone.
Lord.
Think of it this way. Security, like you said, you trade convenience for security, but security isn't there to tell you no. It's there to tell you, let's do this thing you want to do, but in a way that's safe. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to ride a motorcycle, but please God, wear a helmet.
Yeah. Unless you're in Florida or South Carolina.
You
They
should
don't-
still
they don't-
wear a helmet.
they don't
Yeah,
have
you
helmet
should
laws.
still do it.
Heads don't crack on the pavement any less in Florida and South Carolina.
You're right. What's he doing over there?
Your dog's being weird. Don't talk. We won't worry about it.
It's already happened over here. So I got the apple that time too. So
I got like a pear and a chocolate.
I did too.
And I
yeah.
got the oak really came out there. So
I didn't get as much pear, but I definitely got the apple.
I feel like the burn lasts a little longer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that really. Oh man, now I want to go back and have every whiskey we've ever done.
Friend John
Yeah.
changed the
Yeah.
whole whiskey game.
Yeah, he
changed our lives.
Yeah, he did. That definitely totally. There's now whiskeys that I thought was gross that I want to go back and just
Yeah,
try again. Okay, well, that might be something to do on another day.
absolutely. So, Tony, let's start with you. What would you rate this 1 out of 10, and kind of why?
I'm gonna rate it as an 8 or a 9. Let's say an 8 because it is, as I said, it's super mellow, but it does have some interesting flavors to it. And as a lover of old fashions, which is like a super minimalistic cocktail, there's not a whole lot to it. You want to use whiskey that's really good for that. So I think this definitely qualifies. It's really drinkable. You can kind of nurse it, and it is warm. But you're not gonna pull a face every time you take a sip. You know what I mean?
That's a great expression, pulling a face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use that. We're gonna have to use that on here.
We've learned so much from Tony.
Yes, we have. Megan?
I'm sitting here with Tony. I think I'm riding the 8 bus. I agree. I like the flavor profile it does have, especially when I exhale and you can get it more. The sweetness with a little bit of the fruit and the oak, it's a really nice it's well balanced. It's a nice, well balanced bourbon. There's not too much of any one thing, and especially with this being a literal brand new distillery, only opened in 2020.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Man, that's really good.
Yeah, they've had like no experience or past history in this business
Legally that we know of.
Yeah. Well,
That's all
as
I'm gonna
far
say.
as we know, there's been no history in this company, and for it to be so new and still such a good profile, I'm very impressed. And I do highly encourage anyone to support this business. Go follow them on their Instagram or have them send you a bottle to your state. They are the Brough brothers. That's Brough brothers. A black-owned distillery out of Louisville, Kentucky. I like it. 8.
Okay. I'm similar but different. Naturally, you know me, I'm more muted, but I like the fact that this was like probably the most versatile whiskey I think we've had on here so far. I could drink this straight. I could drink this mixed. I could drink this in the wintertime. I could drink it in the summertime.
Agreed.
I could drink it on my porch with a cigar. I could drink it watching TV. I could drink it with some friends.
Agreed.
This is that utility player on the baseball team that can play every
A
position.
little bit of everything. Yep. I love it.
It's like an awesome baseline to compare other stuff to.
Yeah. I especially with friend John's tip on tasting, it knocked it up a notch in my book as well. So I'm gonna have to go 7 on this one. I'm not quite as high on it as y'all, but it is good. I really enjoyed this. So I think that's it. If you can't see on the camera, I think he may be on camera too.
I hope not.
I hope it was.
My dog has discovered himself, guys. That is all I'm going to say.
That's a hell of a way to say that.
He has discovered himself a couple times in this room this evening.
I did not do that.
So if you see my dog on the floor between Megan and Tony, just going to town, I am so sorry. This is why we don't let him in here when we record this. So,
oh my goodness.
You guys have anything else y'all want to say before we wrap up, Tony?
I want to throw out another thank you to Tony for coming on. So.
You gave me this cyber music.
The open segment.
That's why Megan doesn't hit the buttons there.
Just kill me. I'm done.
All right. Guys, take your cybersecurity. Take it seriously because
this is some real shit, y'all.
Nice. Tony, thank you for coming on the podcast. I think this is what Megan meant to do.
That's what I tried to hit, but my depth perception is off.
Megan's drunk, guys.
I'm not. I've had a finger.
But anyway,
oh man,
Tony, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. That being said, guys, thank you for sticking around and listening. We will see you in 2 weeks. And we love you so much. Thank you. Don't drink and drive. Cheers.
That was fucking awesome. That was so fun.